Hey everyone! I'm back for part 2 of my Battlebond set review. And today we're going to be going through black, red, green, and like the artifacts and multi-card cards. Again, I'm only really going over the new cards in the set, and not going over the reprints. And even though there are a lot of really good reprints, sorry, I just lost my train of thought. But I'm focusing on that. And I almost was focusing this on EDH, and not like a full draft review. But if you want to have more in-depth information about how I'm doing the set review, watch part 1. Yeah. Well, moving right along. First up, we have Fiend of Despair. It's an 8 mana 6/6 flyer. I mean, that body is like, that's a decent body, but it is 8 mana, so you want to have like a more ramp heavy deck. Which is your opponents can't gain life, which is not always that's not super relevant. It can be relevant, but at the beginning of each end step, each opponent loses life equal to the life that player lost this turn. So it essentially kind of like in a way doubles the damage that your opponent does, like indirectly. But it's also from anyone's sources, not just their own. Yeah, no. I know I'm going to be looking to put this into Vial Smasher, because that deck doesn't have a problem getting to 8 mana, because it's a lot of ramp, and otherwise just kind of like getting this out. And it does a lot of work. It doubles all the damage that Vial Smasher's throwing up. And I feel like any deck that is like looking to do any sort of like burn strategy, like this is one of those cards that is kind of like generically good if you're trying to like win through the combat step. But it is an 8 mana slot, and unless you're like taking advantage of this like very consistently, like you're doing a fair amount of damage and you want to do that, it doesn't help you that much, and there's probably more impactful expensive cards you want to be playing. But I know I'll be putting into Vial Smasher because it fits right into there. Next up we have Bloodborne Scoundrels. This is one of those assist creatures that it just doesn't do enough. It doesn't incentivize an opponent helping you for this cost, because only you're really getting a benefit from it. So it's not good. It's just not. Again, if you want to read about like why these assist creatures are bad, watch part 1. It's not good. Like, no one wants to help you buy for that. Next up is Fan Favorite, which is another one. It's like, it has assist and other people can like give it fire breathing, or not fire breathing, but like pump it up. But it's just not good. Like, people aren't gonna want to pay mana for this. It's something that only benefits you. For these assist spells, they need to be answering a threat, and these are not answering threats. So, yeah. Next up is Gang Up, which is a X and a black for an instant with assist, and it's destroy target creature with power X or less. This one's, I think, fine. Like, this is one that answers the threat. People will be willing to like pay extra mana for it, but there's just better spells you could be casting. Like, you could be casting like, I don't know, Terminate or Doomblade or Castion for essentially the same amount of mana, or spells that exile the creature, and just that restriction on there just isn't useful. Like, it's not a bad removal spell, you could do worse, but it's not premium removal by any stretch of the imagination. Next up is Inner Demon. It is an aura that gives birds. It's an aura that gives the creature +2/+2 flying and makes it a demon, and then it causes all non-demon creatures to get -2/-2 until end turn. So it gives it like a little mini essentially pyroclasm-esque effect. I'm not huge on this because just, I don't know. you're paying a lot of mana for this ability, and it's like, if you want the -2/-2, just run a board wipe. Like, run a Damnation. Or don't run Damnation. Damnation's not that good, but in EDH, I mean, it's good, but it's not like that good. It's not like how it is in Modern. But, that's not a topic for today. But, it just doesn't do enough. Like, +2/+2 flying isn't anything amazing. It isn't going anywhere. If it was a 3 mana ability, artifact enchantment, I would be then interested in for Bruiser, but even then it's just like not useful, and giving things -2/-2 just doesn't kill enough, to like be like consider even a full wipe, so yeah. Next up is Mindblade Render, which is a warrior for 2 mana, a 1/3, and whenever your opponent is dealt combat damage, if any of that damage was by a warrior, you draw a card and lose 1 life. Obviously, if you're in the warriors deck, run this. Yeah, I mean, there's not much else to say. Like, card draw is good, and card draw on a very aggro creature-focused deck is also good. That said, you're also a black if you're playing this creature, so you're not, like, struggling on card draw, so... Alright. Next up we got Sickle Dancer, which is a draft-only card, and you should not be running it. Okay. Stunning Reversal, which is a 4 mana instant, which is the next time you would lose the game this turn. Instead, draw 7 cards, and your life total becomes 1. Exile Stunning Reversal. I'm not a fan of this. Like, you have to have 4 mana up to make this work, and like holding up 4 mana is a lot of mana. And it doesn't help the board state really. Sure, you get to draw a new hand, but I like the card conceptually, but I just don't think it does enough. And it's way too situational. And like, if you don't draw the exact answers you need in those 7, you're dead. And oftentimes you can't actually utilize those answers on the next turn, and you might just still be dead because you're just like a couple turn cycles away. So yeah, not big on Stunning Reversal. Thrasher Root, which is a 4 mana 4/3, and whenever a warrior enters battlefield under team's control, so your control in most cases in EDH, you get to drain an opponent for 1. So it gives you kind of like a Zulaport Cutthroat-esque effect. Obviously, like, I mean, the warrior decks are very go wide with lots of tokens and stuff, so it's like, this is quite good in that deck. So you run it if you're running a warriors deck. Other decks don't want it. It's pretty self-explanatory. Thrilling Encore, which is a 5 mana instant. Put onto the battlefield under your control all creature cards in all graveyards that were put into the battlefield there from the battlefield this turn. So, I mean, this is a good way, like, if you know that, like, a wipe is coming or something, like, to, like, hold this up, to, like, get a really good, like, reversal and, like, stuff. But again, it's so situational, and you have to hold up 5 mana, and that's a big opportunity cost that you're doing with that. And it, like, yes, you can have amazing situations and, like, steal games with this card, but if you want this effect, this is so situational, and you have to hold up so much mana. It's like, just spend the extra mana and play in Garruk's Wake. Like, this isn't worth the amount that you're having to sure, yeah, Garruk's Wake is 7 mana. This one, you'll probably have to be holding up for several turns, or so many times it'll be dead in your hand. And the situation won't come up. That's just, I don't know, not big on Thrilling Encore. Unless, of course, it's a situation where you're doing, like, self-sacrifice, and you're doing this to, like, get everything back after doing a bunch of, like, sack outlets and whatnot, then I could see it being, like, interesting as a card. But that requires a very specific deck. And it could be a piece there. But it isn't gonna help you go infinite or anything. Next up is the black friend or foe card. It's Vertice's Maneuver. So 2 in black with a sorcery. For each player, choose friend or foe. Each friend returns a creature card from their graveyard to your hand, and each foe sacrifices a creature. So it's an edict effect for all players, and you also get to return through your hand. I mean, if you're utilizing like sacrifice, like payoffs and like stuff like that, I think this is fine. And like getting back a creature, I might look to put this in like my Wasitora deck, which has the sacrifice sub-theme in it. And I need to finish that deck. But yeah, I mean, if you're looking to do sacrifice and stuff, and like it's for 3 mana, like that's not a bad value card. And the fact that it's not all players and you get to return a creature to your hand. And then it also has that flexibility if like someone has like a creature in their yard that they want to like get back, and like that will like help counter a threat going on. That's also useful, and you can actually use that to maneuver it. So that flexibility, like normally you'll be naming everyone as foe, but sometimes you'll want like having the option to do friend for either like for politics or like answering threats is very powerful. Okay, we're on to red. Next up we have Asura Bladeseeker. And it says when Asura Bladeseeker enters the battlefield. Oh, one thing I should mention is that we went through all the black warriors, and part of me is like, I kind of wish like I had like my warriors deck was in black, but at this point I'm not probably going to move my warriors deck off of Naya, just because it's like, what is there, like there's 2 cards which are good cards in black, and there's one more that we'll see later, but neither of them are like moving. It takes more than 2 colors for me to move into a color, and my Naya warriors deck doesn't like, Naya doesn't really have any holes in its strategy that blank can't do. It's like it has card draw from like both from green, it has removal in white, and it's otherwise like handling it, and it's just not gaining that much from black for going like either 4 color. Like, and so at this point I'm not looking to change my warriors deck off of Naya. Also the fact that everyone's gonna be going, like not everyone, but like a lot of like, it's cool to have like a Naya warrior deck now that even like Naya isn't like the main warrior colors, so I like that. But now we're in red, so we'll actually find some deck cards that are good for that deck. So we have Asura Bladeseeker, 3 mana 3/2, and when enters in the battlefield, each player on your team may discard a card, then each player who discards a card this way draws a card. Okay, as for red warriors, this isn't good. I mean, looting isn't really what, or rummaging isn't really what you want to be doing at EDH. No. Okay, next up is bonus round, which is a 3 mana sorcery. Until end of turn, whenever a player casts an instant sorcery spell, that player copies it and may choose new targets for the copy. Obviously in any sort of spell singer build, I'd be interested in this. I might be interested in this for Shu Yun, because I mean, obviously like that deck is built all around cantrips, and if I can like get out like 2 or 3 cantrips like after this, like that's a fair amount of card advantage that this thing's giving me, as well as like the extra like combat tricks and whatnot that I'm doing. So obviously the copies don't trigger power west, but I'm interested in Shu Yun, and if you're playing any sort of like spell singer build, you might be interested in it depending on the kind of thing you're doing. So yeah. Next up is Bulrus Bruiser, which is a warrior, which is a vanilla creature, so don't play it. It's not good. Well, it's French vanilla, because it's essentially, it's first strike if you have another warrior, but a 4/3 first strike isn't something that you want in EDH. Next up is Cheering Fanatic, which is a 2 mana 2/2, and whenever it attacks, you can name a card, and spells of the chosen name cost 1 less to cast this turn. Just play a Signet, just play an actual mana rock, and not this card. Enough said. It's cool. I like that there's cosplaying goblins, but not really what you wanted to do. Like, having your ramp tied to creatures, and especially when they're tied to those creatures attacking, is just such a big liability. And like, what are you getting over this? Over like a 2 mana ramp mana rock? Like, oh, you can sometimes get in for 2 damage, but it also ties to wraths or blockers, so not big on Cheering Fanatic. Next up is Corveth's Fury. This is the friend and foe spell for this one. It's a 5 mana sorcery. For each player, choose friend or foe. For each friend, they discard all cards in their hand and then draws that many cards +1. So it's a wheel, like cycles that, not wheels, but like it, the discard the cards in your hand and redraw. +1, so you actually gain a card in the exchange, and it deals damage to each foe equal number of cards in their hand. And EDH is a situation where you can get a lot of cards in their hand. And I like this. I'd be interested in this for Vial Smasher, who cares about like kind of like this like burn, like just like kind of like burn to your face and whatnot, and kind of like this like general attrition thing. And any deck that cares about like wheeling or discarding is also might like this. Like, yeah, like I could see this like in Nekosar, because like in Nekosar it's really neat because like if you have enough like stuff that you care about them drawing, you can just like give the discard one. But if like that engine isn't all together yet, you can just like give them like just be like, okay, just take the flat damage. So that gives you like a nice like flexibility in a deck that otherwise like can get hurt when you don't have everything set up. Like you got like there was like an all permanence wrath or what something, and that can be a problem. But yeah. Next up is Lava Fiend Overlord. This is another one of those assist creatures that really doesn't deal with a threat that well and gives you a creature. It's not good. It's just not good. It's overpriced. It's doesn't do that much. So no. Sorry, two-headed dragon. Next one is a Magma Helium, which is another one of those assist creatures that just gives you a creature and doesn't actually deal with a threat, so it's not that good. Okay, this is the 5-color warrior commander. This is Najeela, the Blade Blossom. She is a 3-mana 3/2 with whenever a warrior attacks, you may have its controller create a 1/1 white warrior creature with a token of tapping. Note that it doesn't say non-token creature. It is non-token warrior. It is any warrior, even the tokens that you're making. And you can play Wootberg to essentially give it another combat stage with like untapping all of them, and also giving them trample, lifelink, and haste till end of turn. This is a very good card. This is a probably the go-to warrior commander. It's one of the few commanders that mechanically care about warriors. It's obviously good if you want to play warrior deck. One day I might update my like night warrior deck to be like 5-color, but I mean right now I don't actually have like the mana bases to support it, even with like a budget mana base deck. Actually, that is a new series, like a series of videos I want to do is talking about budget EDH mana bases. Because like if you look up like let's look up like EDH mana bases on YouTube, it's like most of them are just like, okay, here's get your fetches and your shocks, and here's like the spread of the optimal stuff. And I kind of want to do a series talking about like, okay, here's what you can do that won't cost you more than $10 and gives you a decent 5 or 4-color mana base. So I'm gonna be looking into that a bit more soon, but that's beside the topic. But I just don't have that many pieces for 5-color. And I like kind of like the pseudo Voltron feel that Samut gives me. Yeah, I don't need to tell you that Najeela is really good. Like granted, like she's on par, I'd say, with other like commander deck commanders, which the fact that like commander deck commanders are just like, for the most part, just like miles ahead of most other products like legendary creatures, like is a topic for another day. But like this one is like on par with those, and I wouldn't be surprised if I had seen this as like the front of a commander deck that was like the 5-color warrior commander deck. Like that seems kind of like what the power level is. That said, I don't think it's anything busted. So right. Next up we have Stadium Vendors, which is not good. It's a 4 mana that adds 2 mana to a player's mana pool, and it's just not good. Don't play it. Okay. Stolen Strategy. It's a 5 mana enchantment, which says at the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top card of each opponent's library. Until in turn, you may cast null-land cards from among those exiled cards, and you may spend mana as though there's any mana to cast into any of those spells. This is amazing. This is actual solid card advantage in red, green set doesn't give you it from your library, but it's actual card advantage in red, which is really what red needs more than anything else. So obviously this is amazing if you're playing Boros or mono red. I don't know if it fits in any of my decks, because like I don't really have any mono red or Boros decks. Like I play a lot of other decks that like don't have problem with this of like not having card advantage. But obviously if you have any deck that you're like struggling with like getting card advantage, this is really cool. Also, it's just really fun to like cast spells that your opponents have, like, and be able to like do like have fun with like playing like your opponent's pieces and beating them to death with their own cards. That's always a fun feeling. So yeah, no, Stolen Strategy, very nice. Something that's like very appreciated in red. Okay, on to green. Now we got Brambles Sovereign, which is a 4-mana 4/4 with whenever another non-token creature enters the battlefield, you may play 1 and a green. If you do, that creature's controller creates a token that's a copy of that creature. Note that it doesn't say it goes away in the turn. No, you just make another one of those creatures for free. Or not free, but for 2 mana. So for 2 mana, you can double it. Like, hey, do you want 2 Avengers of Zendikar? Sure thing, just pay a little extra tax. If you want, like, I don't know. I mean, like, there's very few creatures, except, like, legendaries, that, like, this ability isn't amazing on. So, like, if you're in any sort of, like, creature-based strategy, this is very good. I shouldn't have to tell you that. But, yeah, no, just, like, especially, like, late game, like, oftentimes you'll have a little bit of extra lying around in EDH, at least in the games I play, where they tend to, like, go long and you end up with, like, so much mana. And this is just such a great way to, like, sure, you have to pay a little extra, and, like, you won't always be able to pay this, but it gives you so much advantage, especially if you're getting advantage of inner battlefield effects and other things like that. It's just, like, oh, so beautiful, so good. Yeah. Especially if you're in any sort of like, if you're playing like Tristani or anything with like Proliferate or like any other, or Reese to be able to like double tokens and whatnot, like then it just becomes absurd. So very high on Brambles Sovereign. Alright, we got here Charging Binox, which is another assist creature that doesn't answer a threat and isn't that good. Don't play it. Next up is Combo Attack. 2 target creatures from your team controls deal damage to their power equal to target creature. This is just draft removal. You don't want to be running this sort of removal in your EDH decks. Yeah. The Crowd Goes Wild. It's X and green with assist, although I don't think that's as relevant. It's support X, and each creature with +1/+1 counter on it gains trample until end of turn. So, I mean, it does, like, if you're taking advantage of +1/+1 counters, like, this is a good way to, like, spread them out, but, like, even then, it's not actually giving you that much value. It's not, like, I'm not big on it. Not at all. Like, the fact that you can't double up counters on creatures says it's support and stuff, and me, not a fan. Next up, we have Decorated Champion, which is a 2-mana 2/2 with whenever another warrior enters the battlefield under your team control, put a +1/+1 counter on Decorated Champion. Depending on the warrior build you're doing, like, I know, like, my, like, Samut Warriors pumps out a lot of warriors, and, like, this could grow quite quickly and actually be, like, a decent threat, so I actually don't mind Decorated Champion. Like, if you're going for kind of, like, the warrior, like, token build, this can quickly get out of hand and, like, become quite a potent threat, so it's simple, but I do quite like Decorated Champion, and it can grow quite a bit, I can see. So yeah, Decorated Champion. Next up is Generous Patron, which is a 2 and a green for a 1/4 Elf Advisor. When it enters battlefield, support 2. Yeah. But whenever you put 1 or more counters on a creature you don't control, draw a card. Typically, you're not going to be putting this on like +1/+1 counters, but if you're playing, like, I don't know, Patra and wanting to put -1/-1 counters on all your creatures. Oh, look, all of a sudden, look, I shrunk your guy, and I also get to draw a card. Look how generous I am. There's probably other commanders this is good on that were like to give out counters. Fortunately, it isn't good with the one that gives out bribery counters. What's his name? I don't remember. But yeah, no, generous patron, like, and yeah, no, it's cool. It's a neat concept. But yeah, best friends with Patra. This next one is super hard to evaluate. It's Grothama Owl Devouring. It's a 5-mana 10/8, so 5-mana 10/8 legendary creature worm, so this could be your commander. And it has other creatures have, when this creature attacks, you may have it fight Gromatha Owl Devouring. When Gromatha leaves the battlefield, each player draws cards equal to the number of damage dealt by Gromatha this turn by sources they control. My first instinct is that this is cool, but not good. You're giving your opponent's card advantage, and it can die, and all you're getting is just like a nice big creature, and there's better commanders you could be doing, or creatures you could do if you just want big stats for cheap that doesn't give your opponent's direct card advantage. So I'm not big on this big hungry boy. Not at all. Also, I apologize for describing this guy as a big hungry boy, but what do you do? Next up is Jungle Wayfarer. It's a 3-mana 3/3 elf warrior. When it enters the battlefield, each player may search the library for a basic land card, reveal it, put it in their hand, then shuffle the library. I'm not big on this. I mean, it's 3-mana 3/3 that gives other players card advantage. Like, honestly, you're losing net on cards when you cast this, in terms of card advantage. So, I'm not big on this guy. And you're only getting a 3-mana 3/3, which isn't amazing. It doesn't ramp you or anything, so yeah. Alright, here we got Purr's Whim, which is the green friend or foe. And it's 4-mana 4 sorcery. Excuse me. For each player, choose friend or foe. Each friend searches the library for a land card, puts it on the battlefield tap, and then shuffles. And then each foe sacrifices an artifact or enchantment they control. So I mean, it's a 4-mana ramp spell that like causes like some artifact and enchantment like disruption. I might play it in whatchamacallit? In words that mean things. File Smasher ramp. But I don't know. I think I do like if there isn't a player doesn't have a good sacrifice target, you can like use like the extra land for like a political piece and like do things like that and like pull that, which I do like that the option to give your people like give them a little bit of advantage. But also politically, the fact that you had a choice to like not make them sack their Sol Ring might make them saltier than if it was just an effect that's like all players like you ramp and then all players like sacrifice creature. And also you're paying 4 mana for a single piece of ramp, which you probably, if you want the ramp, you're probably better off playing like Ranger's Path or Sky Shroud Claim. So yeah. Archon of Valor's Reach. This is a 6 mana for green white for a 5/6 with flying, vigilance, and trample. Like those are not shabby stats. And when it enters the battlefield, choose an artifact, enchantment, instant, or sorcery, or planeswalker. Or no, not choose a specific one, but choose artifact, enchantment, instant, sorcery, or planeswalker. And players cannot cast spells of the chosen type. You're playing against a Super Friends deck, you say Planeswalker, and they cannot cast Planeswalkers. Playing against Mythics, say Instant or Sorcery, and they can't cast those. And like, it just shuts them down. It's just like really cool, like kind of like Hate Bear's card. And yeah, no, it does work. I don't know the kind of deck you want to play it in. I think like it slots into a lot of like white-green decks like quite nicely. I could see putting this in like Big Butt's Lifing aggro. I mean, it doesn't have the biggest butt, but it still has a solid butt and it does a lot. I mean, obviously it does affect you too, but usually you're thinking about that when you're casting this, like if your hand's full of enchantments, don't name an enchantment. But yeah, no, it's really cool and it does a lot of work. And like, especially if you like name instant, like most removal that people are running is instant speed, so it could be hard to remove there too, so that's cool. And it also isn't an inter-battlefield ability, so they can't like kill it in response to the ability. It happens as it enters the battlefield, so yeah. No, I like Archon. It does work. Next one we have Asura Oddsmaker, which is 1 black-red for an Asura warrior. In the beginning of combat on your turn, you may discard a card. And then you can, when you do, you choose a creature. Whenever that creature deals combat damage to a player this turn, you may draw 2 cards. So obviously this is like best if you're like a double striking creature, because then you could draw 4 cards. But this is entering thing 1. Like if you have like any sort of like creature that you're like trying to like get in for some extra damage and stuff, if you like can be guaranteed to have it get in, like it can be real solid. But at the same time, it is rummaging, so it does require cards in your hand. You are in black too, so it's not like this is mono red and you're like trying to get cards at any point. So I think it's cool. I think it's fun. I think if you're playing this Warriors deck that has black in it, so Mardu 4 color or 5 color, it can be interesting, but it's nothing insane. It's fine. You don't, because at the same time, oftentimes it will be on the board and everyone has a board and you can't get any of your creatures through. Yeah. And you can only do it for 1 creature. You can't like dump your hand and like draw a bunch of creatures. It's not like per creature. It's only for 1 creature. Okay. We got Last One Standing, which is 1 black-red for a sorcery, which is choose a creature at random, then destroy the rest. So it's a board wipe that it's not that good, because most of the time you want to just kill everything, because like, yeah, you might get to keep your best creature, but it also might keep their best creature. And that's not a great position to be in. But this game, I do like it from like a fun perspective, because it's kind of like the random chance, like the board hoping that like the one like giant like big threat on the board gets taken care of, and like everyone can breathe a sigh of relief, and kind of like having that there. And from like it's just like the same reason where like I put the Monarch in most of my decks, because it's like a lot of decks don't actually utilize Monarch that well, but I really like the mechanic and the dynamic it does to the game. And this is one of those cards where it's like, it's not the best, but I think it leads to fun games when I play it, and like fun experiences and moments. So not the best board wipe, but like, yeah, seriously, just run like a Abandon All Hope or whatever, or Extinguish All Hope, that's a card. But Last One Standing I do like though. Next up is Rushblade Commander. It's black-red for an Asura warrior, which gives all the warriors on your team haste. Obviously you're in a warriors deck that is running black and red, you should run this. Haste is good. Enough said. This one I'm not that sad to not see in my warriors deck, because I have Samut, who already gives all of my creatures haste, so it's not really a reason to be in black for me, so yeah. And then next we have Vampire Charmseeker, which is 6 blue-black for an assist creature that returns an instant story to your hand when it comes to the battlefield. But again, unless you're in a situation where you're getting an answer from your graveyard to answer a threat on the board, no one's going to help you get this, and it's just not that useful, so it's not one of the good assist creature cards, so I wouldn't play it. Next up we have Sentinel Tower, which is a 4-mana artifact, and it's whenever an instant sorcery card is cast during your turn. Sentinel Tower deals damage to any target equal to 1 plus the number of instant sorcery cards cast before this turn. Obviously, if you're like in a Mizzix like Storm deck, this is great. It's a great Storm payoff. It's like an anti-Aetherflux Reservoir, and I love that card. This is definitely going into Shuyun, because that card just wants to like cycle through a bunch of cantrips, and that can do a lot of damage. I don't really give it, like, it isn't good in, like, Vile Smasher, which is kind of a pseudo-spell slinger, but it isn't chaining things. It's more about, like, single big spells than, like, a bunch of small ones, and this one was a bunch of small ones, so obviously if you're doing Storm-esque things, it's good. But unlike actual Storm, you can't do, like, shenanigans of, like, Ornithopters and other, like, 0-mana artifacts and whatnot, so it doesn't cool. It doesn't do that as a payoff, but it's still quite cool. And it's also any target, so you get to start like wiping the board and stuff, which is also nice for like, especially for shooting and to get blockers out of the way and whatnot. So yeah, I like Sentinel Tower. Next was Victory Chimes, which is 3 mana for an artifact, it's a mana rock, so it's 3 mana colorless mana rock. But it untaps during each other player's untap step, and you can give other people mana. But I mean, it's a mana rock that like untaps during all of your untap steps, which can be relevant. Like it might give you a few extra mana each turn. Like if you're playing like a 1 or 2 color deck that doesn't need the color mana from your mana rocks as much, when you're getting 3 or more, then mana rocks become part of your fixing almost too, and you don't really want to be like messing around with too many colorless sources. But I mean, if you're playing 1 or 2, you can get like some nice like incremental value. Or if you're otherwise wanting to utilize it in some other way. So I don't think it's like the best mana rock, but I mean, it's not bad. Okay, next up is the Cycle lands, which is the Luxury Suite is a good one. They're allied color lands that enter in untapped if you have 2 or more opponents. So if you're playing a multiplayer game of Commander, they are essentially original duels without basic land types. I don't need to tell you that these are good. They're just good. Like, oops, I went too far. Not being fetchable, I mean, is not good. Is not like the best thing in the world, but if you're trying to go for like, so if you're playing like 4 or 5 color and requiring like a fetchable mana base, but if you're like 2, 3, and like a little bit in 4, like these are fine. They're not going to replace shocks, I believe. It's kind of like the middle range, like budget dual land, because shocks are fetchable. And if you're running like even like slow fetches, you're better off with like battle lands or cycling lands. But they're good, and like to enter in untapped and stuff. But yeah, no, I like them. Also cool art. I really like the scenery of Kylum. There's been some like mixed results to the actual art styles, but like the scenery and like the epic scale of it all, I really do appreciate. And speaking of epic scale, we gotta look at the basic lands. And all of these basic lands like take place from in like different like fighting arenas. And I think that's really cool and like really unique for the basic lands. And I'm gonna want to pick up a fair few of these. Like, this is one where I kind of want like a few playsets of, not playsets, but like sets of. So like, obviously, because like I like matching my basic lands to my commanders, and like if I do any of the commanders from the set, which I mostly went over in the first video, I want to get some of these, but even then, these are just rad lands. So yeah, but that about wraps it up for my Battlebond set review. I hope you enjoyed it and got some insight. Let me know if you disagree with my assessments of any of the cards. I want to get better at the set too. I hope I'm able to draft it more than a couple times, but I don't know if I'll be able to. I'd love to pick up a box, but things are a bit tight right now, so oh well. I know it looks like some singles I'm going to pick up. But yeah. I hope you all have a wonderful night though, and I'll talk to you all later. Alright. May your story smile upon you.